The following spring, Richard decided to take Sophia on a journey beyond the city, beyond the polished walls of her comfort. They traveled to a remote village where his foundation had recently built a small hospital. The roads were rough, the air heavy with dust, but Sophia didn't complain. She had begun to appreciate the purpose behind these trips. When they arrived, the entire village gathered to greet them. Children ran barefoot alongside the car, women waved with shy smiles, and men stood respectfully at the entrance of the new building. The hospital was modest, only a few rooms with basic equipment, yet for the villagers, it was a palace of hope. Richard introduced Sophia to the doctors who had volunteered to work there. One young doctor told her stories of patients who used to travel miles for treatment and often lost lives on the way. Now, he said, they have a chance. This building is more precious to them than any jewel. Sophia listened carefully, her heart swelling with a mixture of pride and humility. She realized that her father's wealth had built more than walls, it had built futures. Later that day, she walked around the village, serving the simple houses made of mud and straw, the narrow paths, the women carrying water pots from a well. An old man invited her to sit under the shade of a tree. He spoke in a soft voice, thanking her for what her family had done. "We may never repay you," he said, "but we will bless you every day." Sophia's throat tightened. She had never thought of blessings as something tangible, yet at that moment she felt richer than she ever had in her luxurious life. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and red, Sophia and Richard sat by a fire with some of the villagers. They shared simple food, rice lentils, and freshly baked bread. Sophia realized that it was one of the most satisfying meals she had ever eaten. It wasn't the taste alone. It was the love with which it was offered, the gratitude that flavored every bite. She looked at her father, who was listening attentively to a young boy talking about his dream of becoming a teacher, and she silently vowed that she would continue this work long after him. When they returned to the city, Sophia found her perspective had changed even more deeply. The extravagant lifestyle that once seemed normal now felt unnecessary. She didn't reject it completely after all. It was part of who she was, but she no longer sought happiness in material possessions. Instead, she looked for meaning. She began spending weekends at the school, helping children with their lessons, organizing small plays to boost their confidence. She learned patience when they struggled with words, and joy when they succeeded. Each child's smile became a reward greater than anything money could buy. One day, after finishing a lesson, a little boy handed her a crumpled drawing. It showed a tall figure holding the hand of a smaller one, standing beside a house with the sun shining overhead. "This is you and me," the boy said shyly. Sophia unfolded the paper carefully, her eyes misting as she realized the significance. To him, she wasn't just a visitor from a rich family. She was a friend, a protector, a source of hope. She kept that drawing safe in her diary, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could make her a part of someone's story. Richard noticed the changes in his daughter. She laughed more freely, spoke with more confidence, and carried herself with a sense of responsibility. One evening, he asked her to join him for a walk in the garden. As they strolled under the stars, he said, "Sophia, I see you growing every day, and it fills me with pride. But remember, this journey of kindness is not always easy. There will be times when people doubt your intentions, when they try to take advantage of your generosity. Care when you feel that no matter what you do, it isn't enough. In those moments, will you have the strength to continue?" Sophia thought for a moment before answering, "Yes, because I've seen the difference it makes. Even if it's hard, even if it's imperfect, it matters." Richard smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "That is the strength I hoped you would find." Weeks later, Sophia faced her first real test. She had organized a fundraiser at her school, hoping to collect money for new books for the children at the foundation school. She worked tirelessly, designing posters, speaking to students, even convincing teachers to support the cause. But on the day of the event, attendance was low, and the donations were far less than expected. Her classmates mocked her effort, saying it was a waste of time. Sophia returned home that evening, feeling crushed. She sat silently at the dining table, pushing her food around without appetite. Richard watched her carefully, sensing her disappointment. "What happened?" he asked gently. She told him everything, her voice breaking. "Maybe I'm not like you. It's Dad. Maybe I can't inspire people the way you do." Richard listened patiently before replying. "Do you think I succeeded the first time I tried?" "Failed many times, Sophia. People mocked me too, said my dreams were foolish. But success is not built on applause. It is built on persistence. Even one book you buy with those donations can change a child's life. Never measure your impact by the size of the crowd. Measure it by the depth of the change you create." His words struck her deeply. She realized that even small efforts mattered, that kindness didn't need grand stages to be real. The next day, instead of giving up, she visited the foundation school with the little money she had raised. She bought a handful of new books and handed them to the children. Their excitement, their wide smiles, made her forget the sting of failure. In that moment, she understood her father's wisdom. As the year drew to a close, Sophia had grown into a young woman with a heart full of purpose. Her father's lessons had shaped her, but her own experiences had strengthened her resolve. One night, on New Year's Eve, as fireworks lit up the sky, Richard and Sophia stood on the balcony together. The city glittered below, but Richard's eyes were fixed on his daughter. "Sophia," he said softly, "when I see you now, I see hope. See the future of our family, not in wealth, but in the kindness you carry. That is the true bloodline I wanted to pass on to you. Not riches, not power, but compassion." Sophia leaned against him, her eyes reflecting the fireworks above. "And I promise, Dad, I will carry it forward. Our bloodline will always be rich not with money, but with kindness."